Grace and peace to you, the people of St. Mark's. I'm so glad to be bringing you greetings on this, my second week on the job. I'm starting to settle in, starting to get the routines. You can see Emmanuel brought me a really amazing plant that's over in my window. And just this morning I was over in the sanctuary recording my sermon for this week. And I have to say that it was just such a privilege to be in that holy, sacred space, preaching and thinking about all of you. I know that many of you really miss being in the sanctuary because it connects us to God so deeply. So it feels like a real honor that I'm able to spend time there. So today I thought that we would just spend a little time talking about the partnership with Dreams and Visions, which I know is still a very new idea and has maybe taken the congregation by surprise a little bit. I am so excited about this partnership. I think it's going to bring so much energy to both congregations and so much possibility, but I know that it can take a little while to get used to it and to think about it, so I wanted to spend a little more time just talking about it and kind of try and paint a picture so that you can get a vision of what this might look like. So let me start by telling you a little bit about Dreams and Visions. I was called to the Synod about 2.5 years ago to create a new church community from scratch. And the idea was that this community would be very specifically dedicated to the welcome of LGBTQ people, many of whom have been excluded or marginalized from the church. So to create a space that felt really specifically welcoming for the needs of LGBTQ folks. And that's what we did. We created this new church community that's kind of fragile and tender called Dreams and Visions. And we've been worshiping together for about 2 years. The worship I would describe as very soulful and spirit-led. It has the traditional arc of the liturgy that you would be familiar with a gathering, the word, the meal, and the sending, or some kind of response and sending. But it's creative and participative. And so while you would probably find it familiar, it would also feel quite different from what happens here at St. Mark's on Sunday mornings. The first thing that I want to just stress about this partnership is that St. Mark's and Dreams and Visions are two separate congregations. And the idea is that both congregations will retain their unique identity and their unique worship patterns. One of the reasons that I was so drawn to this call at St. Mark's is your incredibly beautiful, very unique and formal liturgical style on Sunday morning. It's very similar to what I grew up with as a child, and I just find it really beautiful. And so as a pastor, part of my call and my desire is to uphold and uplift those patterns of your liturgy and to keep them and steward them in a way that reveres what they are. So that's my intention, that's my hope, and there shouldn't be much, shifting that's taking place in that Sunday morning liturgy. And I just think that's really important to understand, that there's no idea that we're going to start sort of merging those two styles at all. What it will look like is that St. Mark's will be worshiping on Sunday morning, just as you have been for many, many years, at 11 o'clock with your formal liturgical style. And then Dreams and Visions will be worshiping later in the day at 4 p.m. in a totally separate space in their own way. So it's a little bit like being roommates, two people who are living together and sharing space, but are really autonomous in lots of ways. But because we are in partnership, we have some really unique opportunities to partner together. And that's the part that I start to get really excited about. So what could that look like? I think the first thing is that Dreams and Visions and St. Mark's can share in fellowship. So that might mean that, we have a carol sing together, or we bake cookies together for the cookie sale, or we go on a nature walk together, or anything that the two congregations are interested in partnering together on in terms of fellowship. And second, which is most exciting to me, is that we can share in ministry to the neighborhood together. St. Mark's and Dreams and Visions have already collaborated together in the past. Dreams and Visions has been located on North Ave for about a year and is very committed to this particular neighborhood of Charles North, especially because of the connection to the LGBTQ community. And so I think there's so much we can do when we start to think about serving the community, serving the people who live around here, as well as our city. And there's just a lot of ideas that can come there. So I'm excited to see how that develops and how we connect with the neighborhood. I think that there will be a lot of joy and a lot of love as a result of building these relationships between Dreams and Visions and St. Mark's. And what's really interesting to me is that while the two congregations are very different in terms of their worship pattern, there's actually so much that you all have in common. I think both congregations have been a place of a very particular and loving welcome for people who have often not been welcome in the church. Both congregations have committed themselves to creating a place of love and safety. So it's just fascinating to me, like, how similar you are in many ways. And I think that you're really going to enjoy meeting the Dreams and Visions members. So that's the goal, to come together to serve God and to really see what God does with that relationship. It will be absolutely Spirit-led. The Holy Spirit is very much a part of this process, so we will be listening intently to see what the Spirit is nudging us to do. I want to make a few other announcements while I have you here. So as I mentioned last week, we are in this season of greeting and listening, which will take us through the beginning of Lent. And this season will create an intentional time for me to get to know you and you to get to know me, for me to learn the history and the culture here at St. Mark's, and also for Dreams and Visions and St. Mark's to get to know one another. So my hope is to meet with every member of the St. Mark's community during the season of greeting and listening. So please do check the details about how to make an appointment with me that are in the e-letter. And you can also just call the church office and say that you'd like to set up an appointment, and we can do it that way. There's 2 events that are coming up that I want to share with you. One is that this year St. Mark's will again be hosting a COVID-safe trunk or treat event on Wednesday, October 28th, and that will be from 5 to 7. I'm so excited this is happening because it's just a wonderful way to connect with our neighborhood, and we are gonna need some help to make it happen. So if you would like to help or to have a trunk, contact Councilmember Emmanuel and he will get you all set up. And then on Sunday, November 1st, we will be celebrating the Feast of All Saints when we remember those who have died. And so for this service, we're going to be putting together a special worship video, which will be a full liturgy with full music. And I'm really excited that we'll have that opportunity to participate in that way. And as part of this video, we would love to remember those who have died, who are dear to you. So if you could please send a picture of someone you would like to remember to Terry. There are details in the newsletter about how to do that. So I am sending love and peace to each of you. I am keeping each of you in my prayers and listening attentively to the voice of the Holy Spirit as we move forward as pastor and people. Sending love, and till next week. Bye.